I'm going to call our meeting to order at 7:09. And I thank everybody for joining us here for the Orange Recycling Committee meeting of April 15th, 2020. And just so that the people who are watching have an idea of who is who's part of our committee. I am Mitch Goldblatt, chair, and we have with us Chris Prokop, Patrick Legault, Mark Moyer, and probably next to him somewhere is Eileen Moyer, Wendy Novick, Amy O'Connell, and Loretta Smith. So we got almost all of our committee here tonight with us. At this point in the meeting, is there any public input from anyone? Any of our public wish to add any comments or questions?
I think one of my concerns is, I probably shared this with you, is that people, since a lot of stores now have discontinued, understandably so, their efforts to help with recycling of plastic bags, people might become not as accustomed to saving them and recycling them at an appropriate place. That and also using if they shop at a store like Trader Joe's, for example, their own shopping bags when they go to the grocery store, since Trader Joe's doesn't allow that right now. Again, that's very understandable, but people may forget as we go forward and get more back to normalcy.
Yeah.
We're going to get to that point on the agenda in a few minutes, Susan. I appreciate your comments. I'm also, personally a little distressed that, I was in the grocery store. I won't name which one at the moment this weekend. And, almost like the old days, I had my groceries going through the checkout. And before I looked up, there was a woman bagging them with plastic bags. And I had to say, stop.
Yes.
I have my own bags, which was a double-edged sword because I have my own bags and they would not let me put my bags on the counter. I had to leave them in the cart.
Yes.
Making it more difficult than ever to do this. So nonetheless,
right.
But thank you for your comments. And we're going to get to that a little bit later in the agenda. I'm not sure as much we can do at this point. I am concerned as well about the potential of people not being able to not getting back into the habit of recycling bags and recycling them separately from the rest of the recyclables, which we have.
Right.
Because we're on OGAD, I'm going to use this a little bit as a PSA, if you will, to public service announcement to say to people, please do not put your plastic bags or plastic wrap in with your regular recycling, because it does jam the machinery and it will reject your entire load. And if your recycling is not being picked up, a good possibility is because of the fact that you have plastic bags in your blue bin.
Right.
So the less contaminants we have in the blue bin, the better our recycling program will be. Susan, thank you very much. Anybody else from the public that's with us tonight that would like to speak? Okay. If not, we're up to reviewing and approving the minutes of the March 18th meeting, which is our last meeting, which was also held. It was the first meeting held on Zoom. I congratulate the committee for that. We did, I think everyone did well. So is there a motion or is there any additions or corrections to the minutes?
I don't have, this is Loretta. Could people identify themselves when they speak, please? This is Loretta. I have.
Sure, Loretta, please identify yourself.
I just did. I said, this is Loretta.
I know.
I know you're teasing, aren't you? So am I. So
I am. Of course I am.
Yeah. Oh, did we have, wait a second. Old business. You don't have me on the agenda, right? All right. So I'll bring it up later. But in terms of the minutes that Mark wrote.
Well, this is the minutes. The minutes from March. Are there questions or changes to the minutes of the 18th of March?
No, but may I make a comment on it?
No,
Only one
Loretta,
question.
is there any additions or corrections to the minutes from
No,
March 18th?
No.
Okay. Okay. Is there a motion then to approve the minutes as presented from March 18th?
Yeah, I'll make
This
a
is
motion.
Loretta, I so move.
Okay, so Loretta's going to move that, and Chris is going to second it. If
Yes.
there's no further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Amy, your mute button is on, so if you're voting, let me know how you're voting. If you're there, Amy. Yeah, let's try that there. I'll take that as unanimous yes for the minutes.
Okay.
Okay, with treasurer's report, Mark, what you got?
Treasurer's report is still at 1,720.94. There's been no change. I know that Eileen did submit the update for the domain name and the website to continue. And I saw just one small charge come in so far, which I have not submitted because I'm waiting for the larger one to post.
What charge? Oh, those are charges from Eileen from last month.
Yeah, there's, I guess there's two charges regarding the website. One of them came through at like $40 and the other one I'm waiting for, which is the whole update.
Okay,
The thing, they
Very
were
good.
originally, it was
any
originally. supposed to be-
Eileen, is Eileen speaking? Go ahead, Eileen.
Hi, it was originally gonna be like 300 and something because they raised the price, but then I got an email saying because of the virus that they're not gonna raise the price, so we're gonna save a little bit, like, from what was approved. 300 and something dollars got approved, I think.
371, yeah.
Yeah, and it's gonna be something like in the 200s, I think.
okay. Eileen,
That's
thank you. Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions on the treasurer's report? If not, we have the update on the residential recycling. And just to, before I get into this is Mitch speaking, Loretta.
Yes,
For anyone
thank you.
else, Mitch speaking. The residential recycling for the month of March was, believe it or not, up significantly from last March. Our total was 80.90 tons of residential recycling in March, which is an 18.4% increase over last year's total. Our year-to-date from January is 7.2% above last year. It's nice to see the numbers going back up. And
Yeah.
the question was raised before the meeting, so let me reiterate as well that the residential recycling does continue. Recycling is considered an essential service. So the household recycling continues both through the pickups residentially at the end of the driveways, as well as at the transfer station. So that's our update on residential recycling pickup. Conversely, the next item on the agenda is to discuss the textile recycling, or the ubiquitous pink bags. We had a fairly successful run for about 6 months, and that was not deemed an essential business, and hence the pink bag program has been suspended during the COVID-19 situation, and until businesses are allowed to resume, we will not have pink bag pickups. There is no provision for that at the transfer station. For those who have been to the transfer station, you may also notice that there's no provision for Goodwill pickup either. The Goodwill trailer is also locked at this time. So I'm encouraging people, including my own family, those of us who are doing some cleaning or who have some time to do a little cleaning during staying at home, please continue to hold on to your textiles, your clothing, your belts, your shoes, your whatever hats and pocketbooks that are going to be discarded, and wait till we resume the program if you can. It'd be very much appreciated. Any questions about that? Okay. Old business. This pulls us back into Susan's concern and a concern of all of ours. And I'm going to just turn to Chris. to see if we have any update at all about trying to get the bag wrap shed replaced up at the transfer station. What the
Yeah,
status
sure.
of that is, Chris?
Yeah, unfortunately, I have left some messages with Matt, the manager, and I suspect because of just our situation, it was on hold for those that were on the meeting last week. Last month, it was on hold. And I suspect because their intention is to not only, provide the shed, but also install the shed under our, the supervision of the town, that they, obviously would not be able to do that anytime soon is what I suspect. I have not received an answer back this week. I've left a couple messages, but I know they seem to be quite busy over there. So they are an essential business and are still open during the day. I did also put out there, I know we didn't officially, fully discuss, but I did mention in my email the possibility of us perhaps moving forward with purchasing something in the meantime, something small that was part of our discussion. I just wanted them to know, or wanted, Matt to know that might be an option. If we agree, we want to at least try to put something out there. I know we've offered to residents to, they could dispose of their bags at the Home Depot, but not everybody wants to walk into a building to do that at this time. So I think that's perhaps one thought if folks, if we want to discuss that, or how to proceed if there is an opportunity to get something that is reasonably priced, that may not be long-term, but just something, since I know we looked into, Mitch, I appreciate you looking into seeing if there's a way to put that recycling bag set up into one of the existing areas, and it doesn't look like that's possible. So that would be my only other option, which I just put out there on an email this week to say, we've discussed this. It's kind of floating around to perhaps look at something, if they could give us a good price on something reasonable, a smaller shed that we can just temporarily secure up there until, everything, the dust blows over and they can actually install something. I was told that they expect the approval to go through, but now they're just not doing any of those kinds of community projects at this time.
Yeah, I think that's a fair statement there, Chris. I'm somewhat reluctant for us to try and buy something this time because it's going to mean that it has to be constructed. And relying on our public works to do that right now, especially with the social distancing that they're trying to keep our own public works away from each other, to set up a structure like that might be, futile. We can look into it, but I just don't think it's going to be practical to get that done during this this time period.
Yeah.
Unless somebody else feels differently.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. We're not able to produce something.
Something pre-made. Can we do that if it was already put together?
Patrick, what's that?
If we could, this is Patrick speaking. If we could get something that's already put together in advance, and then we just have to literally bring it there, do you think that's possible, or is it
Something from
most of these have to be constructed?
Yeah, I think it's still possible. But once again, even if it's pre-constructed and all put together, it still needs to be secured, and we're going to rely on somebody else to do that too. I mean, we can talk to Public Works in the meantime between this and the next meeting to see if that's a possibility. But beyond that, right now, I don't know. I don't know what else to offer. We can look into that though, Pat. That's if we can get something that's pre-constructed. We need to secure it, because otherwise it's gonna be a waste of money if it blows over like the last one.
Right.
Yeah, good thing we didn't have a small thing pre-constructed already put up, or we would have lost it the other day, I bet.
point
Yeah,
taken.
but you're right.
Mm.
Yeah, good point. Okay.
May I throw out a question? This is
Sure, Loretta.
Can these stores that have these recycling bins for plastic, can they put them outdoors? Or can they put, like Home Depot, Target, you have to walk through a little area before you get into the store proper? If people don't want to go all the way in the store, can these things be in that little indoor area right by the entry door?
that would certainly be up to the small store owners. Go ahead, Susan.
Right.
Most stores have discontinued the recycling efforts for the plastic bags at this time.
Oh, they have.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Mark. I understand too that they've also, a lot of places aren't taking back bottles and cans either.
Yeah, they're not. That's
Oh,
true.
no, they're closed.
Yeah.
All right.
Is there, is plastic, some soft plastic that we're talking about, does the coronavirus germs stay on that for a while, like cardboard or other things? Is
Yes.
that why the stores have stopped recycling the plastic?
Yes.
I imagine it does.
Yeah.
Uh-huh, okay, well, that makes sense.
I,
So what do we-
I say I imagine it does. I don't know for sure, but I guess
They're probably thinking it's just not essential that you have to do that right now, I would think.
Yeah, I suspect that's right. And I'll
Yeah.
definitely update the committee if I learn anything from Home Depot of any options that temporary or otherwise that we can at least consider. As soon as I hear anything, I'll pass the word to the committee here.
on the same vein, and thank you, Susan, for giving us that information. On the same vein, I don't know that they've actually closed the paint recycling at the transfer station, but I know that if that gets filled, they're going to close that up too, because the paint is also not being collected at this time. So it's a possibility that that's going to be shut down for the time being. Once again, the residential recycling, the bottles, the cans, the newspapers, the regular papers, that is, all the plastic, the hard plastics, those are all still being collected at the transfer station and curbside. But some of these other things are not considered essential, and we'll see how long that lasts.
Mm.
All right. Next item on the agenda, and I don't know if Amy's back on here or not because she was before, but I don't see her now. We talked about the bookmarks to be given away at the June 10th Community and Business Expo, which we're going to participate at, assuming that the Community and Business Expo is still on. I have not seen any notice of cancellation of that at this point. But I'm going to call on, if she were here, Amy was going to work on a design, I think, for the bookmarks. So we need to move that along because we would be using that, if not at the Community Expo, certainly for other events later in the year as well. So we'll go forward with that. Any comments on that? Okay. Next was our tour of the Oak Ridge recycling plant. For those that don't know, Oak Ridge in Shelton is where our recyclables go. Once they leave Orange, people say, what happens to them? Well, that's where they go, to the reclamation plant in Shelton. We as a committee, we're going to take a tour on March 28th. And if you think back to March 28th, which wasn't too long ago, no one was going anywhere. So obviously that got canceled. I have spoken to the representative at Oak Ridge, and his answer was anytime we want, obviously when it's safe, in the future, we'll set up a meeting. So once again, we'll look for a Saturday morning, but we're not even going to start even thinking about that till we know that the restrictions on group gatherings of any type have been relaxed. So we will hold off on that, but certainly we as a committee would love to continue to potentially go there. Next up, the Haz Waste Days. Once again, I'm not aware that the Haz Waste has been suspended yet, but I'm sure that's coming because that usually picks up the late April, early May. Or is it late May? Actually, it's more Memorial Day. I guess it's May.
Yeah, Mitch, I went to their website. This is Mark. I went to their website earlier this evening, and it said mid-May to the last weekend of October, and it did not give a COVID update yet as to whether or not they're suspending or delaying it.
So hopefully mid-May will be okay for that. As we know that just keeping your calendars. Once again, for anybody watching, the hazardous waste disposal is done at Sergeant Drive at the Water Authority on Saturday mornings from 9 to noon, from the dates that Mark Moyer just told you, from mid-May to late October. And they rely on volunteers to help out which is processing paperwork more than anything and guiding cars. And our committee, or the town of Orange, is asked to do that twice a year. And we are committed for June 27th and October 3rd. So we have a list. We don't have to go through it right now, but people have already signed up. If anybody needs to change a date or, can add themselves to a date, just let Mark know. But we will have representatives, assuming once again that it's open. That's what we will do. Any questions on that? All right. Next item is our shredding day, which was supposed to be April 25th. And we discussed this at our last meeting. And as our last meeting, we thought it would still be a possibility. But as you can well be aware, and all the committee members are aware, we've had to postpone it for obvious reasons now. We're not going to hold the shredding day April 25th. However, I have contacted everybody involved, and everybody involved, and hopefully that includes the people on our committee, have the ability to postpone this to Saturday, October 17th. Once again, this will be at High Plains Community Center. We will 9 a.m. till noon. We will collect people's shredding or what they want to have shredded, personal documents, free of charge, because the Rotary Club of Orange will be our sponsor once again. Joe Johnston and Affordable Solutions will be doing the shredding. He has agreed to hold. Now, the price went up because of the recycling situation. He has agreed to hold his price till October for the Rotary Club, as long as nothing catastrophic happens. And the way things are going, who knows? But he's got the date. The Rotary Club has the date. Our partners with the Bye Bye Mattress will be there, as will the Lions Club be resuming their pickup of mattresses for a $10 donation. They'll come to someone's home in Orange, as long as the mattress is outside or in a dry area under a porch or in a garage. Pick up the mattresses for a $10 donation to the Lions Club. They'll bring them, or people can bring their own mattresses to the High Plains between the same time to have mattresses recycled, taken out of the waste stream, which, as you can imagine, is a big portion. When people throw mattresses in the hopper, it's a big takeaway if we can do mattress recycling. And as an added attraction, the Orange Community Women have decided that October 17th is a better date for them than April 25th anyway, and they have agreed that they would like to participate as well, as they have in the past, by collecting clothing and household items at the pavilion. So I'm hopeful that by October 17th, we'll have a very successful and a nice day, and things will be opened up that we can have our shredding day. So please mark your calendars, because we need all hands on deck if we can do that as best we can on October 17th. Any questions on that?
No.
Okay. Is there any other old business that I have not brought up tonight that I may be missing?
Mitch,
Yes, Loretta.
it's Loretta.
I know that.
First of all, this has to do with articles in the newspapers.
Yes.
And I wanted to thank Mark, who wrote in the minutes about the Orange Times articles. I almost wanted to cry because he was so nice about it. But it's very true. I do love to research and provide the readers with as much info to make it. But the newspaper that we are using at this time really scrunches things up, and they don't put our logo in there. So I'm getting a little frustrated. And also, it's an Orange Milford newspaper, so a lot of what we say may not apply to Milford. So do we really want to keep going with that particular newspaper, or should we switch over to the other one? Somebody's laughing in the background here. Am I right?
No?
No? Oh,
Is
okay.
that, I heard you say, nothing in the background. No. We hear you.
No. Okay.
We
So
heard
my
you.
question is-
So we can look into it again. Go ahead.
Who? Me?
So
No, I posed.
Well, I was asking
posed my
Loretta,
question.
you said the question is, yes, let me try to answer it. I will talk to the publisher of or I'll send an email out probably to the publisher of the Orange Times to see if we can get more space, get the logo back in. The other newspaper we had attempted to work with earlier on, we didn't get much response, and that's why we were working with the Orange Times. So I will see if they will give us more room, and if not, we'll look back to another publication. I also want to, while we're talking about publications, I think it's only fair to mention the publicity that we have gotten for our meetings, both our last meeting after the fact, as well as the publicity for today's meeting from Terry Miles from the Orange CT Live. And that's very much appreciated, what she does for us as well. So
absolutely.
Thank you, Loretta. And Loretta, keep doing a great job on those articles, because people do appreciate them, and it's very, very useful information. And I think, maybe whatever the next one you're working on might want to indicate some of these at least temporary changes that COVID-19 has caused towards some of the recycling, things that Susan has brought up tonight, and things that other people have brought up tonight that have been interesting, that some people just aren't aware of.
Yes.
So.
Well,
Thank you for that.
What I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you about that also. Perhaps, since we're limited on space so far, perhaps the article should just deal with these items that we've discussed tonight. Don't forget pink bags are suspended. Also, Goodwill is not picking up at the dump. Transfer station. And and what about the shed replacement? Should I mention something about that we've approached Home Depot and we're just waiting, but they're sort of tied up with the COVID also?
Well, yeah, you can say that they. Yeah, because that's been holding it up. I get questioned all the time, what's happening with that. So the answer is we are definitely determined to get that shed back up at some point, and it would have been done well before now if it wasn't for the pandemic that we're in right now. So.
Yes, I'll just say that we've been working with Home Depot for quite a while. Yeah. Okay. And I'm going to make a tour tomorrow of the stores like Target, Home Depot, Kohl's. Are you saying that they just are not grocery stores? They're not accepting plastic anymore, period?
They're not recycling at this point, to my knowledge.
All of those?
They're not allowed.
Yeah, so I was not aware of that, and I don't usually bring my recycling to the grocery store. I usually I'm gathering lots of bags. My garage has lots of plastic.
The people hold on to them and not give up, throw their hands up and throw them away.
Yeah.
I have four large garbage bags in my garage of just plastic bags. Boy, I'm getting sick of them too.
Yeah.
I have.
And now that the returnable areas aren't being taken, I'm still holding out for those too.
Yeah.
Returning the bottles and cans.
Yeah. You
Still,
this is Wendy. Can you still bring your bottles and cans back?
Not to my knowledge.
No.
I usually do it that way. I do my plastic bags, recycle them that way, but not the cans, which I put in the blue bin. But to my knowledge, they're not allowed to.
Yeah, you can't return them for the 5 cents. You can obviously throw them in the recycling in Orange, but as far as your 5 cents, you can't. They're not doing that.
Right. So the redeem for those that redeem.
Oh, the redeemable. I don't know. I don't buy them. Yeah.
Well, and for those that do, go ahead, Loretta, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I used to take mine to ShopRite, and a number of weeks ago, they just closed that up. They put big bins in front of the doors, so you can't even get to the door.
Yeah.
And I think I read that recycling, redeeming of bottles and cans is on hold.
If it wasn't on hold, I think a lot of people would have it on hold, because it's, to those of us that do redeem, it isn't always the most sanitary area, let's face it. And what we're going through right now to to keep that clean, as well as keep the supermarket itself clean, is quite a chore. And I'm sure that's one reason why it's been suspended. But you know,
Sure.
like Patrick and I have a bunch of bags and bags and bags. I also have
Right.
bags and bags of redeemables. So when that opens up, I'm ready to line up for them with all my nickels.
Yes, yes,
So,
that's true.
but we hope people don't. So, and for those that that do redeem them, it is basically the securest and cleanest way to get the glass and the plastic and the aluminum recycled, because there is far less contamination when things are redeemed specifically that way than when they go through the single stream. So you have a much higher percentage of recycling done by those that use the redeemables. But can't force people to do that, but I'm just hoping people hold on. If not, put them in your blue bin, but don't put them in the trash. All right. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, I redeem them because I use the money to support the school in Kenya that Phil and I support. And my neighbors are fantastic because they've been saving theirs for me, and now they're loading up their garages with these, because I don't have room in my garage. Like you, Mitch, I've got bags and bags. So they're terrific. But I'm probably going to be making 100 trips once all this clears up, right?
Right. So we'll probably have to get Loretta that shed that we want to get for the plastic bags. We'll give Loretta to put her all redeemables in for.
There you go. There you go. It'll look great on my front lawn.
Thanks, Loretta.
Sure.
All right. Is there any new business to be held tonight?
Yes, this is Mark Moyer.
Mark.
I have one new business, Mitch. I
Yeah.
received in the mail in March, after our last meeting, the 2020 Orange Country Fair Civic Tent letter asking us to reserve a space and a table. $125 for the booth, $10 for the table. Checks due before June 1st and refundable up to August 1st. I assume, I don't know if we need to put a motion on in a second in order to put that
Yes.
through.
So the first thing I need is a motion to add that to the agenda. So Mark, I'll take that as a motion to add that to the agenda.
Yep.
Is there a second to that?
I
I'll
second.
All right, Loretta seconds. Okay, all in favor
Sorry,
of
Phil.
adding to the agenda the item of discussing our booth at the country fair in September, say aye.
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 Any opposed? If there's no abstentions, I'll consider that a unanimous vote of the committee. And now, Mark, you want to make another motion now?
Yeah, I make a motion that we go ahead and rent the booth and table and send a check in to reserve our spot for the fair
Okay,
in September.
there's a motion made by Mark. Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, I caught Wendy's hand there. Okay, Wendy will second that one. Okay, we have a motion and a second to reserve the table with the refundable deposit for the country fair. All those in favor of that signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? So that motion carries unanimously as well. Thank you, Mark, for bringing that up.
You're
I
welcome.
hope we have the fair.
Yeah.
We hope we have the fair. Absolutely. We gotta get to the carnival first. Not to mention Memorial Day Parade.
Yeah.
That too. Okay. Any
Mitch?
other new business? Yes.
No, I don't have anything new, but I'm sorry to back up. You're going to call the present newspaper, and
Yes.
can you call them fairly soon because they have a deadline, April 27th. So I want to know where I stand.
Yes, Loretta, I will email them tonight. I'll put you on distribution.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Anybody else for new business? Okay. If not,
No.
is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Loretta. Is there a second? Was that Eileen? Eileen seconded that.
Who made the motion? I'm sorry, Mitch.
Loretta made the motion to adjourn. Eileen Moyer has seconded.
Yep.
All in favor of adjourning at 7:45, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Well, thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight on Zoom. And look for yourself on OGAT. And thank you very much. We'll see you
Thank you.
soon.
Thanks, Mitch.
Thanks.
Have a good
Thank
night.
you.
Be
Good night.
safe, everyone.
Bye.
Good
Good
to see
night.
everybody.